And welcome to Wrestling And. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. It's been a little bit, a couple weeks here. And this week we are talking about Wrestling and Forbidden Door 2023. It's happened. It's in the books. It's done. We were here for it last year, and we're here to watch it this year. And of course, I'm talking about myself, John Ensman, at John Ensman, and the wonderful co-host at In-Ring Art, Justin. Justin, how is it in California? Hot?
Not too bad. It's supposed to get hot this weekend, but we were in the mid-70s this weekend.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, nice.
I'd love to go to the beach in the mid-70s. Oh, hell yeah.
Let's see. Here, I'll give you the weather real quick because I'm kind of curious myself. What am I dealing with?
It's been like 85 here all week, Justin.
Yeah, you guys have a very similar summer to what we do, except for it doesn't get as hot. But
real nice nighttime.
Yeah.
No, it gets hot. We get into the 90s once in a while, but you know,
75, 75, 77, 80, 84. That's what we got for the week. 84 and 85 on the weekend. So yeah,
you guys just have that perfect weather, man. But hey, I know you guys get your own heat waves too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they get pretty bad. I know Texas right now is dealing with, or at least last week they were dealing with a heat wave, and then they just rolled back the laws for workers getting water breaks, which is like, why? Why would you do that?
A different country. Yeah, they're just.
Why would you do that? Yeah. So that was kind of funny. At least they sell flavored tobacco there, so I respect that. But anyways, yeah, man. Last time we talked about a bunch of stuff. Today we're gonna talk about Forbidden Door. But before we get into that, and just real quick, I thought it was a pretty damn good show.
It was. Yeah,
I did not think it was as good as last year's, because last year's, like, every match was amazing. But this one, I feel, had some real great stuff on it. And
last year, it was more of the under-promise, over-deliver. I think we were all just surprised by how great last year's show was because of the injuries and how it really didn't look that great on paper.
Because Punk was out, Danielson was out last year.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where it's like the main event wasn't the best in the world, but all the matches combined were all just added up. There was no bad match. There was no average
was
match.
Great. Yeah, and Hiromu got COVID. There was like a bunch of kind of things that happened,
which we didn't have this year. Everyone's back except Adam Cole.
Adam Cole got sick, and we missed that. And Tom Lawler. I wonder what because that show was pretty long without it. What did they substitute for it?
You know, they gave their guys their minutes.
They just gave everyone a little more time.
Yeah, what did they get? You know, I don't know. That some of that Will Ospreay match was fairly long, but you'd figure they had that time set out already. It was probably like a 40-minute match or something like that.
But I have to go back and look at the time.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that. But Justin recently got to go to a company I've never seen, and I'm kind of afraid to go to watch them, but only because when they come to Colorado, Justin, they don't have their California group of people that come to Colorado.
Oh, really?
You're not getting Nick Gage and all that stuff in Colorado. Really? Yeah, so he went to see GCW at. Did you see it at the Ukrainian?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You can tell from the stage, huh? You can just see it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's Ukrainian colors, and it's a lot smaller when you're there, obviously, but it's a cool little building. Definitely more room than, PWG, especially at Reseda.
Well, it's going to become the indie place. I mean, has it always been, or is this in the last so many years that the Ukrainian has become such a popular wrestling spot for indie?
Just basically with GCW. Kind of,
New Japan's strong though.
I could be wrong. No, I don't think New Japan ever did anything with the Ukrainian. Oh. Maybe with those. Okay. They always used like that Hollywood, Vermont, which is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed up.
Ironically, they're probably about a mile apart from each other, if not less, like a couple blocks away from each other.
Okay.
One's like a nightclub. With the Hollywood, Vermont is like a nightclub. Yeah. And the Ukrainian Cultural Center is like just like a Ukrainian cultural center, I guess. I don't know. They have. I don't know what other kind of events they have there, but
it's like one of those lodges. Like they do all sorts of stuff. We have a DMV right down the street here, and they do bingo there. on Sundays. But actually, one of my favorite podcasts, H3, last year they did their live show at the Vermont Hollywood. And this year, on Friday, they had to move it up, so they did it at the Ace.
That's a hotel downtown, something like that. It's like some theater in a hotel downtown, I think.
The Ace Theater or something, yeah. Which they don't do wrestling there, but... yeah, so anyways, you went to...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think like when Bruce and Conrad did an episode of Something to Wrestle With down there at one point, the Ace sounds familiar.
Yeah, and I think in when I went to LA, I could be wrong, but I think Paul Heyman did a thing.
That would make sense, yeah.
Theater show. You know, the classic, he does those, like, he only does those with like one or two companies, but the classic video of him talking about Chris Benoit. You remember that one? Right.
Where he has those like kind of Q&As or something like that, right?
Yeah.
With the host.
And oddly enough, we'll talk about Chris Benoit later. But first, GCW, when did you go? Was this Wednesday? Thursday?
It was Saturday. It was a week ago.
Oh, this was
Saturday.
last week.
Yeah. So,
okay, because I was watching Collision, and yeah.
So I was able. Yeah, it was during the night of Collision, so I was able to get some tickets through trading some drawings, which is awesome. And I decided to bring some of my drawings to try and get signed, and was successful. I got Joey Janela and Zack Sabre Jr. to sign my drawings.
Oh, yeah, you took a pic with Zach.
And I took a pic with Zach. It was very cool.
Hell yeah.
And
he looked happy, too. So did you.
I was happy. He was cool. I mean...
You got some good Zach pictures. And Zach, you know, he is a cool guy.
He is. And, like, so after the show, I was like, okay, I'm going to see if I can find some people. And I was kind of going to get... I saw Zach kind of roam... He came out from backstage to go to the bar to get a couple beers, probably. Mm-hmm. After his match, he had a match with Nick Gage. And
I don't think he drinks beer necessarily, but
oh yeah, he had a bunch of beer he took back with him.
I thought he was like gluten free, bro.
No, I know he's vegan, but doesn't.
Oh, so he drinks beer. I thought he drank like vodka and soda or something. Would be my guess. But he's British though. He is British. Yeah.
So you know. I got Zach. I saw Zach talking to some guy saying, "Oh, I'm just going to get a drink. I'll be right back." And he went up to the bar and he came back a few minutes later walking down a ramp in there. And I said, "Hey, could you sign my drawing?" He's like, "Did you draw this?" And he, I can't do his. I'm not even trying to do his British accent, but he.
Hey, you dickhead! Cool. Did you draw this?
Yeah, and he signed it for me, and I'm like, "Can I get a picture?" He's like, "Of course." And he's a really cool guy and all that. He's like, "Hey, thanks," and all that. And then by the time I turned around, there was a huge line behind me to kind of meet and greet with him. And, as I was kind of roaming around the room afterwards, he was just chatting up everyone in that line, and he accommodated everyone. He's really cool.
That's awesome.
Because I kind of think he doesn't come out to the States too often, so,
He's been on a tour over the last month. I think he's been here in between here and Japan. But yeah, I mean, now with AEW and GCW, he can do tours in the States, which is
in terms of doing indies out here. He's not doing a ton of indies out here,
Yeah, GCW, but again, he's there for the month, so I'm guessing he's probably you think he might be based in LA?
I think he probably just floats around.
Okay, and just stays in hotels and stuff.
Yeah,
and but I mean, he's been there for a month, so he's probably trying to pick up some money, get all the dates he can.
Yeah, until the G1.
And he's a big money guy too. I mean, as in. You got to pay him to get him on the show.
Right. So, I mean, and especially Nick Gage. I wouldn't expect him in a match with Nick Gage, and he did take some thumbtacks. No pizza cutter.
Was that Nick Gage versus him, or was it a
tag? Yeah. No, it was one-on-one match, and it was actually really good. And Nick Gage was showing a little wrestling, technique himself.
So was this a Nick Gage match, or was it a ZSJ match, or was it somewhere in between?
It was more, I would say, a Zack Sabre match in a way. Yeah,
with the
but it did have some spots like, Zack took a pile driver on a row of chairs.
Wow.
That was set up in the ring. I can send you the video clip of that. He took some thumbtacks even. He went through a door.
Damn.
So Zach went up there and, he did some stuff for him for sure. And then he did the whole kind of Okada roll to, or with Zach when he folds his arms and does that pin.
Yeah. Where he balances on his head.
Yeah. And he did some
Okada
nice
roll, is it not?
I think something like that. Yeah. And then he just gave a nice speech about how he, appreciates Nick Gage and all that. And,
total babyface, or was he being a dick?
No, he's being a babyface. Okay. And he gave Nick Gage a hug and all that and showed his appreciation for him. So it was really awesome.
Justin, we have all these wrestlers that are heels that are actually dicks in real life. And that is a for sure thing. I mean, there are certain people that seem like they are heels and that they are naturally, they're naturally, Charlotte Flair comes to mind, as in she's never really good at playing babyface. But Zach, I've seen like training videos of him, old training videos and stuff, and seems like a really chill guy, very cool person. He's just great at being a dick too. He's just good at that too,
He didn't even have any merch to sell because I totally would have bought a shirt or something for him. And that's a guy who, being at something like GCW, he has every right just to do his match and get out of town if he wants, go back to the hotel or whatever. He doesn't have to meet and greet anyone.
True.
Not every wrestler came out afterwards. Joey Janela, I kind of got him walking by and he signed it for me real quick, and he seemed a little busy. I didn't really want to bother him for a picture.
Yeah, just one of those, okay, cool, let's get this over.
Yeah, and Effie had a little thing, and he's the one drawing I forgot was Effie's. Oh well. But then there was the two Japanese girls, Maki Itoh and Rina Yamashita, had like a line for their stuff. I was going to ask them. I should have had my wife text me something to say to them, but I think she might have been asleep. It was getting late, and I should have texted her just to ask her, like, can you just write something so I could show them to sign my drawings? Because I didn't want to go all that line and try and explain it to them and not pay them $20.
Were they very popular?
Yeah, they had a pretty decent line, and they were standing next to each other.
Did they wrestle each other?
Yes.
And how was that?
Awesome.
Itoh obviously being the big favorite for GCW, right?
Yeah, and she took a beating.
She lost?
She lost. She took an absolute beating, but she got the pizza cutter and Rena bled like crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's Yamashita is the big baby face, and but Itoh is she's kind of become famous in GCW in a way. This American, she always had that. You could tell she was a little bit cut of a different cloth than many Japanese wrestlers. We'll just put it that way.
No, she came out to, Nick Gage comes out to For Whom the Bell Tolls.
So is she saying fuck you and flipping you guys off and eat my ass? And...
I don't know if she was saying that, but
okay.
I got to send you a bunch of video clips because it was pretty fun.
And really a little more intimate. How were your seats? Every seat's good there, right?
They were standing room only, but we stood basically right behind all the chairs and all that.
I've never been to a show standing room only. I don't know if I could do it. I guess it's fine, right? I work for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day.
Yeah, you can handle it. Yeah. I mean, it was a really good show. It was worth it. And those... we saw like guys like Jack Cartwheel and
how's
Kevin Knight was
right
on
now?
the show.
Because he's been around for years, Jack Cartwheel, and he's doing Mexico. I mean, but he's so young. You could see him as maybe a future AEW guy. Is he looking good still?
Yeah, I think so. He looks like he could be. He's probably about 5'5", maybe.
Okay, real small guy. Now he is a high flyer, right?
He looks like a gymnast, like a male gymnast.
I think that was his gimmick. Oh, the body type. Yeah. I have a lot of friends that were gymnasts, and they're all 5'8".
Joey
once they
Janela
got 5'9", they were too tall.
Here, I'll send you the clip of that. Joey Janela and this really tall girl he teamed with that I didn't think I heard of before.
You've never heard of her?
There was that guy, that Michael Jackson wrestler, that Santana Jackson was on the card.
Oh,
it wasn't advertised.
He's funny though, right? I mean,
they did like a Thriller thing where he was. And
then what did they have? The pizza wrestler guy that throws up the pizza dough. And
I know who you're talking about, but he was not on the card.
That guy really, he was like the New Japan Rap. Like he lasted for fucking 10 minutes and then disappeared.
I still see him here and there, but
there were some other issues too, though. But no, I'm not going to get into.
But okay, GCW is definitely that mixture between PWG and what like kind of bar wrestling was.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that pile driver onto the chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo! That's pretty badass, dude. Well, there you go, man. Zach is doing this U.S. run. He's been, he's been feuding with Samoa Joe, which is crazy, in ROH. And I don't know if they had that match or if they're going to. We should probably check on that.
And we'll talk about it in a bit. But man, I'd love to see him and Orange Cassidy 1-on-1 too.
Oh, I'd love to see that. That was pretty great. So. All right, now, I'm just going to tell you what I watched. I watched the main show minus 2 matches, okay?
Okay.
What did you watch? Did you watch the pre-show?
I watched pretty much everything, minus the women's match, because I just had to take my dog out. And
I hate to say it because I love both those women, but, like, this was such a nonstop show that it's like, I have to make some kind of,
well, you know what? It wasn't.
Sacrifice.
I caught the end of it, like. But the thing is that like it was just the placement on the show because I kind of
they wanted it to be a breather match though.
Yeah, the way it was placed, it was like the third to last match. I didn't want to miss any of those 2 matches, so it was the sacrificial lamb by the way they booked it. Unfortunately,
yeah. No disrespect to the women. I love Willow; she's awesome. And I like Toni Storm too. So let's see if you saw this match. Did you see? Oh, and I wanted to say something to you real quick. We talk about Zack Sabre doing this match with Nick Gage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Swerve Strickland, for example, and I don't remember if it's the Vice documentary, Dark Side of the Ring, but there's a thing of Swerve doing a hardcore match, and the whole story is like, they're like, why are you doing this hardcore match? And he's like, I want to be the best wrestler. I have to learn hardcore style. I have to learn comedy style. You know what I mean? Like knowing every style, which is something we see someone like Omega, do. And, learning every style is not a bad thing.
Well, it's like a good actor, right? Doing comedic stuff like Robin Williams, let's say, right? Or he could do serious roles and comedic roles, both prolifically, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to typecast yourself, right?
Yeah, so I was thinking of Leonardo DiCaprio. Because, I mean, he plays a special education student at one time.
Yeah.
And then he plays this comedic, Wolf of Wall Street, this bastard. And, he plays the heartthrob, all this stuff. But, yes, like Robin Williams. And you have to be able... It's range, right? It's range.
Yeah, so, it just it enables yourself to get more work for certain things.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So.
Oh, yeah. You can work with anybody. Fuck, yeah. Kind of like... I like some of the wrestlers we saw tonight. So Swerve, Brian Cage, the Gates of Agony. There's all these AEW guys I don't pay attention to. Besides Swerve, they beat Rocky Romero, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and El Desperado. Did you watch that?
I was kind of half paying attention, half not. I think I was prepping some dinner at that time.
Well, Swerve and all the guys won. They beat. It's weird because you get Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Rocky Romero of Chaos, and then you put in El Desperado from Just Five Guys. I'm not sure why that happened.
Just something to get El Desperado on the show, I think.
Well, yeah, because he was doing commentary, right?
He was doing just get him out there.
And he's about to have a match with Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but that's in Japan, right?
Yeah, that's July 4th, I believe. July 3rd and 4th.
That's at Cork and Hall, that little strong show they're doing out there.
Yeah, that should be fun, seeing the American strong guys go to Japan. It's kind of a full circle moment. I mean, sometimes we forget strong wouldn't exist without COVID, most likely, right? Like,
no, 1,000% correct.
Yeah, it's like, and what have we gotten from strong? A lot. We've gotten a lot from it, and so
I mean, it's definitely not really a thing anymore, but the remnants still. There's a lot of people that got a shine.
As in they don't have the show anymore?
No, I don't think so. Show's long gone, isn't it?
No, but they just had tryouts a little while ago, dude. They have a whole new crop of young lions that are working right now.
Right, but I don't think they did like a Young Lions showcase a couple weeks ago or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think that
but I don't
Friday night show or Thursday night show is out anymore.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not
And
doing the show anymore.
Shibata quit.
Did he quit the dojo? Right.
Yeah, he's been out of the dojo for months. He's an independent wrestler now, dude. He's not part of New Japan anymore, which is kind of crazy.
I just think they don't want to pay the insurance.
Yeah, they probably don't want him to wrestle. And as you can see tonight, his other people are taking care of him, and I think he wants to wrestle with that being the thing. We had Athena versus Billy Starks. Did not see it. People said it was very good. Athena continues to be good in ROH. We'll see where she goes from there, because she's really good in Ring of Honor. So I don't know what else to say. I didn't see this match. I don't really even know Billy Starks.
Billy Starks is like kind of the Nick Wayne, right? Like they're both fresh high school graduates. Yeah.
See, when I think of the young wrestler, I think of Roxanne Perez, like the little girl.
Right. Yeah. No, this is actually a pretty fun match. Yeah, Athena is pretty well suited to do what, hold up that Ring of Honor title and everything like that.
Yeah.
Because you kind of forget they have technically room to have two women's divisions now, I guess, with AEW and Ring of Honor.
No, we have the TBS belt too and all that stuff. So
that's true.
Yeah, which was not defended tonight.
I mean, their booking has been hot and cold with their women's. But they definitely do have the for not having tag titles like WWE has. They definitely have a lot of space for women to thrive there.
They do, and a lot of stuff is going to take time to build up because you need those organic growths, almost like with what happened to Jamie Hayter, where fans started loving her, and now we're seeing it with Willow, where people just love her.
And honestly, I haven't been a weekly AEW watcher for a long time.
I just watch. I watch I listen to the rundowns and then watch stuff that is interesting sounding.
Right. But I haven't been, maybe a little bit here and there, but I just don't have the time, and it's a little bit of an effort to get it going.
No, but yeah. You're not out of the loop, because I will tell you if anything crazy happens.
Right. But for something me to observe and have an actual thought that isn't secondhand. I don't have it all the time. If you're not
watching AEW every week, you're sure as hell not watching Ring of Honor every week. That's for damn sure.
Oh no! So, like, how do you have to have the
Honor Club?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've watched it a couple times. You know what, dude? It's actually good. It's kind of like Dark or Dark Elevation, where you don't even think about it, nor do you feel like watching it. But if you do, you're like, oh, actually, those are pretty good matches. You know what I mean? But, it's not important, and if a wrestling fan doesn't feel like something's important, they're not going to watch it.
No, I think it just basically now is taking the place of Dark, and Tony is providing more independent wrestlers work. Good for him.
Which is cool, because we see, that pay-per-view I went to was incredible, actually. And we see people like Claudio having championships, which I absolutely love. He should be champion for a long time.
And it lets them, it's actually kind of brilliant, because they seem to be able to piggyback off of any big WWE weekend by just coming in there as Ring of Honor, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know that, like, AEW has never wanted to piggyback, but I guess since it's Ring of Honor, it's okay. But yeah, I think one of Cody's biggest things was never piggyback, ever. So,
right, but it seems like they're almost
have to.
Yeah, and they can throw. Yeah, and it just gives them a chance to kind of spread out a little bit more, and why not?
Well, I mean, even WrestleMania weekend, some people thought that El Vikingo and Commander match was one of the best matches the whole weekend. And I saw Kingston versus Claudio, and that match will live in my head forever. Which another thing we're going to get to later. So it seems like they did Stu Grayson versus El Phantasmo. It said it was a good match. ELP's awesome. I don't know about Stu Grayson. Now, he's good, but I mean,
know
he
what
never
it is?
gets used.
He did leave for a while and come back, right?
No. I think that guy just straight up quit. Right? Let me check.
No, he left AEW and then returned, I think, right, at some point.
I don't know. I think there's the guy that you're talking about was the other guy from that group that is just
Alan Angels. But I think Angels. at some point,
he's gone,
Stu Grayson, I thought, left.
Maybe he got. But
anyways, to get a couple Canadian boys on the card, that's fine. Would have been cool. If Alpha and Tasma was still in Bullet Club or had some type of group he was in, or Hontai right now, but his whole thing is he's by himself, they probably would have got Evil Uno on there.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, and that's the other thing. That's whatever's going down with the Dark Order, which is, we don't really know. It's not been fully explained, or it's something from like an episode months ago. Dark Order is not as hot as they were, and so they've kind of been, pushed off to the side, especially because
Johnny Hungy.
Yeah, I know. He's awesome. What happened to him?
I don't know. Did he get injured? I know he had some kind of injury at some point, but I think he ended up coming back.
I feel like it was all about Hangman Page, and when he left them, they got nothing left now, sadly. So,
yeah, I guess the relevancy kind of started to slip a little bit. I mean, they came into their own during the pandemic with being on being the Elite, and
oh yeah.
Brody was great with them towards the end as well.
I kind of wish they could get a new leader that people would love. Fuck it, make Andrade the leader of the Dark Order. That'd be hilarious.
I don't even know how you can make that work, but
he wears a skull mask, so you can start there. Shingo, Hiromu, and Bushi defeated Kyle Fletcher, Jeff Cobb, and TJP. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. Also, that's a New Japan match, though.
It was. That's what even my wife was saying. Aren't those all New Japan guys?
No, because Kyle Fletcher is signed with AEW.
That's what I tried to explain to her. Is Kyle Fletcher is signed with them, but I said that they kind of use them on both shows because Jeff Cobb is, on
Kyle
AEW.
Fletcher's been almost on nothing but New Japan for the last year.
Yeah, but Jeff Cobb does probably a good 4 or 5 episodes of Dynamite.
You remember when he was on Dynamite at the very beginning?
Yeah, because they brought him out with Jericho.
Him.
Yeah, he was.
Yep, they wanted him in the Inner Circle, but he said no. I'm going to work in New Japan another couple years. So
yeah, I think that's when New Japan gave him an exclusive deal. They signed him, but now they're partners now, so I think you're going to see a lot more crossover with that. Anytime the Western wrestlers come back to the States. Whether it's to go home, they're going to do a little run with AEW, it seems like, or at least get a couple shows.
Well, there's definitely a lot of favors being done between AEW and New Japan. I mean, as in, getting this stuff working. And not only that, but some of the booking decisions, which shocked me that New Japan would let these people lose. That's a huge amount of trust.
See, that's where I don't know. But, if I'm just looking straight on paper, it seems like AEW gets a lot more out of it than New Japan does. But New Japan is trying to get back at that Western market that it was starting to really gain some popularity in what, 15, 16, 17, 18, in that range.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much money, when they booked this building, is New Japan putting up any type of equity or investment or rent or whatever for the night, or is this all AEW? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Tony? I don't know how that works. When New Japan goes against Noah, how does that work? I'll tell you this: it's probably most likely heavily AEW, as in AEW knows how to run Canadian market and American market, and I don't know what New Japan would do to get into the Scotiabank Arena.
I mean, I saw some people complaining about the placement of the card and all this shit, and the IWGP title being kind of bastardized. I'm like,
that.
Exactly. This is an AEW show. I'm sorry, this was an AEW show. This was not a joint show. It was a 75% AEW produced, at 25% New Japan. I mean, let's be honest.
I think AEW, and in fact, even WWE on some shows is a little more advanced when it comes to booking nowadays. As in, we know that the final match does not have to be the championship match. It just has to be the hottest match. I mean, that's why we had a tag team match for finals at multiple WWE events, you know?
Right.
Because we've learned over the years that it's not a rule that the last match has to be the championship match, and AEW's changed that, and New Japan has not changed that, but they are slow to change, and they've changed a lot of things over the years. And I'll tell you, there might be a day when you might see the junior heavyweight be the main event. It is a possibility one day.
It is, but I think it's more likely that you'll have like a special singles match that would eclipse. It would have to be what we saw tonight.
Well, it would have to be like one of the hottest matches in company history, but
I do think they probably should have put on Omega and Ospreay last, especially considering how it played out. That probably would have been when the match to roll with last. It definitely had the most.
The crowd was a little tired by the time they got to the last match. There was a lot of quieter moments, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, it ended with... Well, we'll get to that. What match was after...
So next, it was MJF and Tanahashi. I'll talk about this real quick. It was a very simple, heavily story-driven match. Yes. Tanahashi is moving very slow. He's labored in his movement. He still can go, which is like... It's kind of weird, like... The dude moves like half the speed he did like 7 years ago, but all his shit is still good.
That's what I was telling my wife. Like, the guy can barely walk, but somehow he gets up those ropes somehow, and he was having a hard time. He's in the G1. I know.
God, dude!
He better be on a flight right after this. And I love the guy.
Get into the cold tub, then the hot tub, then the freaking chiropractor, should have one
on the
plane
plane on the way home. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like, it was a really good match, and it was. Tana basically wrestled a Western-style shenanigan match with MJF, and it was really good.
And MJF had that in them tonight.
And MJF is fantastic, and he did a great job. And perfect dance partner. He had his moments. He had the visual pinfall and all that stuff, and MJF needed to cheat to win. So it was basically.
How'd you like the tweet that did you hear that commentary?
Yes,
that he goes a tweet. He just scheduled a tweet that said I've already beat Tanahashi by this point. Match was halfway done. It was like that was a great heel move.
He is so goddamn good, and when he retires or whenever he gives up the persona, we're gonna hear some just great stuff from him. And when he does the whole Mark Galloway thing at the end, and he starts, because I bet you. Guys
you
like
don't
Tanahashi,
like going out of character though, bro. So I don't know.
I know, but no, I think guys like Tanahashi come away from that experience feeling like he really respected them. And I know he says he doesn't know all these people, but I know he does.
He knows all.
He knows, and he studies, and he
exactly. He's watched the videos. He's a fucking mark like us, dude. He's seen the videos. In fact, one of the things I've heard talked about him years ago is he watches like old school wrestling from the 80s and shit, and he's extremely influenced.
Bond over that, and I think he's even said, I've seen him saying on shows like, you think I don't go and watch these things when these Japanese, I watch everything. So he has said that.
It's the total gimmick that New Japan. Remember, it's his whole gimmick is New Japan's an indie because that's what Okan said about AEW back in the day. He said
he liked Okan.
Was a bunch of indie, and he likes Okan because he stole the. So it really goes full circle there. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing, bro. I'm not going to call it 5D chess. He's a great heel,
and that was the perfect matchup for him. And I think I didn't watch Collision, but did apparently Tana wrestled Swerve. I don't know why he had to wrestle a match the night before.
Oh, I didn't see Collision this
but apparently.
Saturday.
He had some type of botch on the ropes, and
so
Swerve had to react to it and help out in some way. I don't know. That's all I've heard, But I know
they kind
there's
of
that
played into that this match because he kept having trouble getting his footing, and the announcers are going, "Oh, these are not New Japan boxing style."
Right, they're cables or whatever, right?
Well, the ring pads, the pads.
Right, the pads. Something. Well, anyway, they used that, but Tana still looked okay, and
well, when Tana looks okay, he has a great match, and he looked okay here. He kind of had some of his greatest hits, but they mixed it up. Let's see my notes here. I said MJF, a good and simple story match. Tanahashi is slow, but he's Tanahashi, and it was as expected. It was a great match. So.
And you know what? Like, you can complain about where they placed everything IWGP. They still curtain jerk with their own titles, so don't, AEW definitely didn't put themselves in terms of card placement. They didn't make their title seem important either. So for those people complaining about the IWGP,
I'm part of the Chris Jericho thing. The first match and the last match are the most important.
Well, it was a perfect thing to open, yeah.
But this was meant to be more of a battle. They could have started with the fast-paced four-way, but they wanted to start with this. And you know what? Nice pop to start the evening. He's the ace, bro. MJF versus the ace, a legend in the making versus a legend. What else can you ask for? Yeah. CM Punk beat Satoshi Kojima. I did not even see this at all. Was it a quick one or what?
No, it was actually a surprisingly fun match, actually.
So who were they booing and who were they cheering for?
Oh, they were booing CM Punk. He did have some of
no, I heard he was very heelish or heeled it up.
He was a little heelish, and but it was a fun match. I mean, Kojima got a lot of offense too, and it was it was definitely not a short match, but I don't think it was any longer than 10-12 minutes. But it was fun.
Did he do his Bakeato catchphrase and all that shit?
I think so, and then he was even CM Punk was doing the slaps in the corner and kind of imitating him and stuff.
Nice.
So it kind of showed that Punk's watched his stuff before. I'm sure Punk knows and respects the hell out of him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had wrestled in the past. Kojima was wrestling in MLW in like 2003, brother.
Oof.
And
well, anyway,
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of interaction
crossover. Everyone was thinking Kenta, but I really think that Kenta and CM Punk do not like each other, and they don't want to get in the ring with each other. I think there's
something there, dude, because that was a money match, and but here's the thing, it's a one-sided feud. CM Punk's never talked about Kenta.
And
except once.
The rumor is that Punk doesn't want Kenta to shoot on him.
Kenta would never shoot on him as if he's unprofessional. Come on.
No, I don't know.
That is like weird, though, because Kenta's a bigger star than Kojima nowadays,
or Nagata would have been good. I mean, I'm not going to complain because I thought it was fun. I'm happy Kojima.
Nagata's in All Japan right now, but Kojima was in Noah or something. I don't know.
I love when they give these guys a little moment.
But he picked him up and he GTS'd his ass, right? He picked Kojima up.
Eventually, yes.
And did it look okay? Did the GTS look okay?
A little sloppy, but not bad.
Okay, cool. You ever seen CM Punk interviewed on where he got the GTS from?
No, I just
it's like it's an old WWE interview, and he's like, "This poor bastard from Japan named Kenta. I stole it from him." He's I could have named it the Punkorama or the Punkomatic, but I just took the name too.
That's funny. Well, there's how it all started.
Orange Cassidy versus Shibata versus Zack Sabre Jr. versus Garcia. Awesome four-way.
Absolutely great. I loved it.
One of my favorite matches tonight. One of the better matches tonight. And a story between all of them in a way. There's a little bit of a story between all four.
I feel like Orange Cassidy could be a huge star if they just gave him the keys.
I have it written here, dude. OC is so good. One of the best, most dynamic characters in wrestling. And when I say dynamic, I mean, this guy can go from not giving a fuck to doing topes and dives and crazy shit right back to just like, being lazy. And
he honestly, he's one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world.
He is. He turned me around. I hated him, bro. I hated him. I was like Jim Cornette on his ass. And when he showed that he could go, which he does like every match now, I was like, this guy's awesome. Yeah, he's one of the best in the company. Better.
And honestly, I would love to see him for a Best of Super Juniors.
I would love to see him fucking... I don't know when the timing would be right, but I'd love to see him in main events, dude.
And he's done a couple, and he's never disappointed. He wrestled Kenny for the title. He had that 3-way with him and Pac, right?
He had Mimosa Mayhem. Remember that?
Yeah, he's shined in every spot they've given him. He's done everything.
Exactly. He does not really have bad matches. He's always good. His shit is good. His moves are really connect with the crowd. You know,
and that's everything. That's something, is the connection with the crowd. I'd love to see how that would play in Cork and Hall, just out of curiosity.
I'd love it. I have awesome back and forths with everyone. Histories with all of them. We won't get too into it, but recently we've had Shibata and Orange go at it. We've had
out of mutually respect each other, though.
Yup. We've had Sabre and Shibata have a little history. And Garcia kind of new to the mix, but a technical wrestler as well. So,
I mean, that's where I could see him. Daniel Garcia with any of those guys would be great too.
Well, and I loved Garcia's. Okay, when you think about this. You had the wrestler versus the sports entertainer, right? Yeah. Everyone's shouting, "You're a wrestler." And he's going against a guy who's literally called the wrestler. I mean, I was like, if you just think about it, the sports entertainer, and he was doing his dancing and shit. He's learned from Chris Jericho. He's learned how to be a sports entertainer, and he's getting better at it. And he's got the wrestling down already. We know that.
I mean, yeah. And, don't forget, I thought this was going to be a good moment. I was a little surprised that Orange retained. I thought this was going to be Daniel Garcia was going to kind of sneak out with the title. But
are you ever surprised? It's like Orange Cassidy winning is almost like Okada being champion. It's just everything's normal. Like when Okada's champion and when Orange wins, like just like, oh yeah, shit's good. You know, everything's okay.
And the carrying the belt in the backpack is like the greatest thing.
Yeah,
it's so different and it's casual. And I don't know, it just fits his character. So that's what I'm saying, is this guy, I know like people didn't like him for the reasons you did with the pockets and all that stuff and the Jim Cornette shit. But
because I didn't know he could go like that. I didn't know the guy could have great matches. I thought his whole gimmick was put my hands in my pocket. But what you don't know, it's like an anime character, dude. Who has that shy side, but when he goes all out, he goes all out. He gets fully emotional. There's no laziness at all.
And I like how he hasn't, even though you do see that side more with the serious side, he still doesn't abandon the pocket stuff and the sunglasses.
No, it's all part of it.
The soft kicks.
And he incorporates it with there's a lot of synergy between opponents, like him and Shibata. Shibata's whole thing is sitting down. So he sits down because he's lazy. Like, it's like everything. He reads the other wrestlers. He knows what they do. Just fucking great, man. I have here, thank you, Tony, for this. Why is Zach so good? Of course, Zach doing his crazy technical stuff, which, and eventually Shibata hit the PK on Garcia, and OC jumps in the mousetrap for the 3. One thing I want to say is Shibata, you can tell he's being protected, but he's figuring out how to communicate to his opponents, I guess. Like, don't fucking hit me in the face. Don't slap me on the side of the head. And as long as they don't do that, he wrestles just like he did before.
Yeah, I think he definitely not him personally ask for it, but he gets the respect he deserves, and people are fully aware.
He probably tells him, like, hey, dude, I fucking busted my head years ago. Like, you can't headbutt me. You can't slap me in the side of the head. You can't. And so everyone...
They're not telling him, it's agents or Tony Khan themselves saying,
Yeah. Yeah, and if you notice, to stay alive. All the attacks are on his neck and chest area. So
yeah,
and you can do that, and it can be just as effective. It's like you don't have to do real headbutts. You can do fake headbutts like Kento Miyahara, and they look great. They might even look better than than real headbutts sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, so we agree this was an awesome match.
Yes,
cool. Sonata versus Jungle Boy. I did not think this match was as good. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good match.
I thought it was really good, and I know a lot of people weren't excited with Jungle Boy as the opponent, and I get it. But to be honest with you, Sonata as champion isn't the most attractive thing for an international show either. So
yeah, and I am just imagined watching this show. I'm guessing that there were a lot of fans who were thinking, but I don't know. I'm guessing there's a lot of fans watching it being like, who the fuck is Sonata? And why is he champion?
Was that the guy that was with Evil? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like, wait, who the... Well, because he doesn't even look the same as before. So I bet you there were a lot of confused people. But when you see a dude and he's champion too, it is kind of interesting. You're like, oh, wait, why is he champion? Well, what did he do,
And I think Tony Khan saw, okay, the IWG champion is, WGP champion is Sonata. Not the most popular thing to Western fans, so I might as well take this chance to give one of our younger, quote-unquote, pillars. Let me just throw one of them in the match. And that was Jungle Boy.
Well, and let's make an angle out of it.
Exactly. They used it as an opportunity to advance his storyline. So maybe it wasn't...
There's a meme on Twitter right now that after all these years, it took Sonata to break Jungle Boy.
I mean, let's be honest, maybe it was a little bit of a disservice to the IWGP title in terms of card placement, but also it's not like they had Okada with it. It's not like they had Naito with it. It's not like they had Will Ospreay with it.
I did not mind the booking, nor did I find it disrespectful, because New Japan is on a young boy push right now, and so they want younger guys. We have no more Nakanishis, or these older guys rarely wrestle Tenzan. They're kind of gone now, and it's all about young guys. So I didn't mind the booking so much. I will say this. You don't want crowds chanting for the ref. That's generally not good, in my opinion. And that kind of says that neither wrestler is over. And so, seeing everyone chant for Red Shoes was kind of sad for me, because you got Sonata and
it was also his first match of the night too. I don't think they saw him come out and they got a little excited. So
yeah, and I've seen people chant for Aubrey, but even the refs know their job is not to pop the audience. Yeah. Now, unless you're the guest ref.
Yeah, I'm trying to... I had a better opponent for Sonata in my head. I like Jungle Boy, though, and I think he's good. But we'll see now if he kind of... you could see that they're playing up the Jack Perry thing a lot more now.
Well, yeah, eventually he'll be Jungle Jack Perry.
Or he'll just be Jack Perry.
He'll just be Jack Perry. Yeah, he's still got his lame-ass Jurassic Park logo.
Yeah, he's not going to look like... what's his name from Jungle Book?
Mowgli?
Yeah, he's not going to look like Mowgli.
Now he's got a heel turn, so it might be a whole change in his persona.
Yeah, he might get his hair straightened. They might do something a little different for his presentation.
That would look goofy as hell.
I would put him right back with
I'd cut his hair.
Luchasaurus and Christian Cage.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. And bring in what's the little boy's name again?
Marco Stunt.
Marco Stunt. Bring him back in as a heel.
I feel bad for him in a way, man, because
I was thinking the other day about old AEW and how much worse it was, and not saying anything bad about some of the guys, but dude, you had, what was that guy that got kicked out of AEW for the sexual stuff? And he was a hardcore wrestler, Sam.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. In England, he's English,
he's
right?
British, yeah. And it's you had him and Joey Janela, and you had all these wrestlers who didn't pan out in that circumstance.
His name slips my head, but
he was only there
UPS
for a minute.
driver.
And then you had he's a UPS driver now
or something. I saw that he was doing that. He had half his haircut, but he did a lot of weird shit. He was a weird shit kind of guy.
Yeah,
and he didn't have near the magnetic personality that Nick Gage does.
Yeah, and then you had the Jurassic Express and the Nightmare. It was, some of that shit was so bad, dude. It's funny how much it's improved, and The ratings
they took
are worse,
a lot of they took a lot of popular indie acts and had to basically sandpaper them down a little bit and reshape them.
Yeah.
So
and some didn't work out. They tried out Warhorse. He didn't work out. But then they tried
I don't
out.
Remember that.
They did, yeah. That when they were doing the TNT Open Challenge, but then they tried Ricky Starks, and boom, he fit in. They tried Kingston, boom, he fit in. But I don't know. It's just kind of funny looking back how different it was when we were watching Kenny Omega versus fucking what's that dude's name from? I don't remember.
Anyways. Andrade, I thought would have been a great match for Sonata. That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking that too. Andrade versus Sonata would have been awesome. I mean, Adam Page versus Sonata. They've had some bangers back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I understand they put Page in an angle, but
he was in his other. Yeah, Andrade wasn't doing, but Andrade also is new to AEW once again. I think he's got to gain that trust back.
Yeah.
Hey, on a quick side note, you see anything of that first episode of Collision at all? Did you see CM Punk's promo or anything?
Yeah, I saw some of it, yeah.
It was good. I thought his promo was very good.
It was okay, yeah.
I thought the Tell Me If I'm Telling Lies was good, and his little shots that he made at people, let's pray that those were run by Tony Khan first.
I mean, to me, it doesn't mean anything unless they're going to have a match or something.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We try to avoid talking about him that much, but if he's just going to be a wrestler and entertain us, we will talk about it.
Hey, that's what, I said from the get-go is someone asked me, like, I would, and I've talked about it on here, like, I just think wrestling needs guys like him. As much as I'm not a huge fan, you're not a huge fan, my uncle's not a huge fan, I'm okay with him. I'm kind of, I understand the appeal, but it doesn't necessarily appeal to me all the time.
He's talking about this being the wrestling business. Hopefully he's learned a little better that it is a business.
He's somebody that wrestling, the reactions he get are so overwhelming in both directions that he needs to be a part of it.
Well, I mean, he's money, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah.
And it's already like doing big things for AEW, even though I don't like the guy, and in a way I'd rather not see him wrestle. I like AEW, and you can't deny, like, they're already starting to sell tickets for all those collisions and shit, which they were at like 200 tickets for one of the shows or something.
Hey, we said it. Polarizing is the best way to put it. So that's what
and you look at John Cena, you look at Roman Reigns, both extremely polarizing over the last year. So polarizing nowadays is good. You want that as long as people care, right?
You need people to react.
Yeah, exactly. It don't matter if they love him or hate him. At least they think about him. The worst is with the wrestler that no one thinks about.
There's no indifference with CM Punk.
Yeah.
You never talk to someone about CM Punk. They're like, he's okay. It's like, no, I hate him. I love him.
Yeah.
No matter what he does, he's the greatest. You know what I mean? Like,
that's how people feel about this podcast. And we're cool with that. At least they're talking about us.
Exactly. Yeah.
And fuck you if you don't like us. But so Jack Perry Sonata lived in his head rent free, I guess, and he got angry. And what did he beat up Doki?
I think he
fucking beat Doki down or some shit. Like, that's a huge sin in America.
You don't beat Doki down.
No.
But he used it to turn on Hook, which I think where people think it was going to be...
he turned on Hook. He turned on Hook.
Okay. Walking up the ramp. But did people think that Hook was going to turn on him? Was that the whole thing?
No. I've been hearing rumors of Jungle Boy turning heel for about a month and a half.
Okay.
I think the wrestling news people, they've been dropping hints, just you and I don't watch hard enough to notice.
Right.
But they've been dropping hints ever since the Christian Cage thing, actually, when he did the concerto to Christian Cage. So
got it. I did see that.
Yeah, so it was his time, and also there's the whole, the wrestling book thing. If they don't work as a face, make him a heel type of thing. But we'll see.
I think he's good as a face
to me, though.
Yeah, he does, but he's got acting in his blood, so he the subtleties I saw with the heel turn, the facial expressions, he did a good job with that.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to do the wait and see approach, but we do know that he is a good wrestler. He's not the best talker in the world, but He's an AEW stalwart, and I think we support him for that. And we do. I think you and I both think he's a good wrestler with a bright future.
Yeah, so definitely.
Let's see, dude. And you know what? Go back and watch Takeshita when he was in his early 20s, and then watch him now, and you'll see what a whole different person he is. You know, people change radically over those years. So
definitely,
and he can get bulkier too, which might help him out. So, anyways,
and standing right next to Sonata, I mean, he's not short.
No, the short is not a big deal, but he's still a fucking junior heavyweight.
He's a beanpole, yeah. He's definitely built like Mowgli.
Yeah. Okay, so that was Sonata versus Jack Perry, and then we had the heel turn. Oh, I really love the Poison Ranas, by the way. I just want to say that. There were two Poison Ranas. They did them to each other, and Jack's Poison Rana made Sonata fly across. Jack used the skull end on Sonata, but Sonata finally beat him with the rounding press, the moonsault. A lot of Keiji Muto stuff because he was trained by Muto. So, okay.
Yeah. Nice little stab with Taz. Did not like the Paradise Lock.
Did he do the Paradise Lock?
He did, and Taz is like, I'd like to see him. He would never do that to me, or something like that.
Dude, I missed that part because I remember thinking in my head, thank God he's not still doing the Paradise Lock.
I think it was just a callback because, you know, people there would be like, oh, that's the Paradise Lock guy.
That's one of the worst moves in wrestling. I think that, who's the guy that did that originally? Fucking Milano Collection?
Yeah.
He's like, great announcer, but like one of the saddest parts of his legacy is the Paradise Lock. I can't get out of the lock. My hands are stuck. Like, what the fuck, bro? Anyway, there's stupider stuff in wrestling than that. I mean, there's Michael Jackson wrestlers, so let's not get too mad. How was the Michael Jackson wrestler, by the way? Was that entertaining for you?
He was better of a wrestler than I thought. Because, like, you know, he wrestled Jimmy Lloyd, which is, like, one of the kind of deathmatch guys, and they had, like, a clean match, and, like, there was one point where he's getting beat up, and he goes under the ring, and all of a sudden the Thriller music came out, and he comes out with
Did he pop out of the ring?
He came back out from under the ring, and he had the wolf mask on.
Oh, boy. Did he do the dance?
He did. He did everything, and, like, the dude's really good, like... He's got
the
very good Michael Jackson impersonator, and his wrestling moves were a lot better than I thought. He just doesn't come out and do the moonwalk DDT or whatever. He had a little more to him.
If you liked him so much, go to Man's Chinese Theater. I'm sure he'll be hanging outside of there asking for money to take a picture with him.
I think he's probably based out of Vegas and does stuff there.
You think so? Because you know the dude started as a street performer.
Santana Jackson, I believe, is what he goes by.
I'm sure he does. Hangman Adam Page, the Young Bucks, Eddie Kingston.
I'm not really a Michael Jackson guy either, so to me it's like
I like Michael Jackson actually a lot. But I mean, besides all the weird stuff.
But yeah, exactly.
Love the music though. You telling me you don't like Michael Jackson's music?
It's okay. I mean, you know, it's just one of those things that for sure. I'm not going to deny.
Have you heard "The Girl Is Mine" with Paul McCartney?
I mean, it was just stuff that was so like over exposed to as a kid. Like, all right, enough with Michael Jackson. You know, everyone loves Michael Jackson. It was just one of those things. Being a contrarian as a kid.
My memories were like mid '90s when he came out with like the History and Black and White and stuff. I don't remember him as like in the '80s. So. By the 90s, he was already overexposed.
No pun intended. But,
yeah, I know, seriously.
But, yeah, so it was always that would kind of turn me off about it, like the things you'd hear. And no, I mean, he's obviously a brilliant performer. Probably one of the greatest performers ever. But, you know, anyways.
I get it. Well, we are going to be talking about wrestling and Michael Jackson in a month and a half. So
I think we just did. So we're
good. I think we covered the whole thing.
Yes.
Hangman Adam faces Young Bucks. Eddie Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii defeat Moxley, Claudio, Wheeler, Konosuke Takeshita, Shota Umino in a non-surprisingly amazing match. Right?
Very fun. Little crazy at times.
There were a couple points where I kind of was like wondering, like, do the wrestlers know what's going on?
The Shooter Moxley dynamic is getting a little weird.
How so?
I mean, I don't know. Is Shooter the killer that Moxley wants him to be? He's out there, doesn't, you know what I mean? It seems like a turn's coming on him eventually.
It's a little weird because Shota is a babyface in Japan.
Right.
So now he comes to America. Now he's with Moxley, but he was still wrestling kind of babyface just, and he was wearing bright pink, and everyone else was wearing black.
And then the same, yeah, exactly. So the contrast is so weird. But but you know what? Daniel Bryan, people were reacting to him today too.
Saying
positively because he had Final Countdown. So I think that's a little bit of an issue with the Blackpool Combat Club because people still like them and think they're cool as hell. Yeah,
but people love MJF and Roman Reigns too. I mean, I mean, look.
Well, but for the most part, they get the negative. They know that they're supposed to boo that guy, you know?
Dude, Bryan Danielson and Moxley can really are too famous to be booed in a way.
They're too
loved by the crowd, bro. They've been in this business for so long.
They're too loved by the hardcore wrestling fans.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
But even the casuals will cheer them.
Right, but because they're pretty recognizable from their WWE runs, but
and they're so entertaining.
They're too respected, and I think MJF and then Roman Reigns are in that space where they're starting to overwhelmingly get the respect of the hardcore fans too. So
yeah, it's one of those weird things of wrestling nowadays that was different in the 80s, and it really boggles the minds of a lot of old school wrestling guys because back in the day, the heel, your whole goal was to be hated, right? Like you had to be, like you wanted people wanting to beat your ass after the show. Nowadays, though, if you're a heel, you can be cheered. It's cool as long as you're a dick to the fans and stuff, you know?
Well, I think we also we like a good villain in our culture now, right? Whether it's the Joker with Heath Ledger, people, worship that role.
Thanos.
Yeah, exactly. Even though Thanos is a big jerk, right? People still love the character, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that was really a thing in the 70s or 80s. You didn't have people loving villains. They were always rooting for James Bond or whatever.
Anti-hero stories back then, not very as famous. But nowadays, last 15 years, the whole anti-hero thing has become such a meme. I mean, from The Boys to fucking Breaking Bad.
Or just you can go as far back as like something like Pulp Fiction or Stone Cold Steve Austin, where you were kind of rooting for bad guys.
Yeah, right? That was probably kind of the beginning of it, right? The asshole who we love, because fucking we all have that part of us inside of us. So it's different nowadays for sure. Moxley is never going to get all booed by me or you or anyone.
Right. I
mean, unless they could always do some extreme things, but that would kind of fuck Moxley's vibe up because. Yeah, we boo him, and he's a dick, but we still love him.
But I also think people watch these. We're not out there keying MJF's car or whatever.
No.
But we watch from a standpoint of when we're watching a movie and say, God, that guy was what a great villain. Good job. Like you're terrific. Like that's how we observe
Philip Seymour Hoffman, dude. That's like Philip Seymour Hoffman for me. He's such a great asshole.
Right.
It definitely is that way. We understand wrestling. We know we're smart fans. We appreciate the heel tactics nowadays instead of just getting pissed at them. Although, I talk to a lot of casuals, or I used to, where I used to work, and those guys, fuck MJF. He's a piece of shit. So I think some of them are doing the right thing. But I want to say, when we're talking about this heel face dynamic, I think AEW has an ace up their sleeve because when we talk about a heel who is hated and also who is great, I mean, you look at Takeshita and Don Callis, right?
I mean, Don Callis might be one of the best characters in all of wrestling right now.
Well, I finally like him. It took me years to like this guy.
I always kind of, even from he was doing the Jackal stuff in WWE, and then
I first heard of the guy in New Japan. First heard of the guy in New Japan, and I hated him because he was the most annoying announcer. But whatever he's doing with Takeshita now is incredible. Yeah. I listened to him on Talk is Jericho. Did you catch that at all?
Not recently, but I did the best episode he ever did when it was the three of them in Winnipeg.
Okay.
They talked about the whole how they put that match together and everything, and
Yeah, well, they just did a show, Takeshita, Callis, and Jericho.
Wow, okay, and that would be worth listening to.
It was all character work, don't get me wrong. Right. You know what I mean? But, I mean, it was great. I mean, you're hearing about how Takeshita was a track and field star, and that's why he's lanky and long, kind of like Okada.
Right.
They talked about, just he's saying stuff like when Takeshita walks into a room, his dick's already been there for 2 minutes, socializing, walking around, figured everything. So, pretty great. But he's probably one of the most hated people. And if Takeshita can ride that, he's going to be a great heel. He's already got the wrestling thing kind of down.
I mean, and having Don Callis is a great way to... He doesn't have to talk.
People hate Don Callis so bad. Shows you how over Kenny is, right?
Oh, definitely.
Which is kind of a back, result of that.
And Don never worked as a baby face what they were doing. It was just, it didn't feel right. This was the way to go for sure.
Yeah. All right, it's been an hour, so let's get through this here. Some of that 10-team notes. Ishii versus Takeshita, one of the best parts of that match.
Oh, for sure. And
I want to see that so bad.
Can we ever get him do any New Japan stuff?
I don't think we're going to see him do New Japan stuff because he's very devoted. I mean, look, DDT raised him.
Right.
I don't think we're going to see him do New Japan stuff, but I think when it comes to AEW, who he signed with, I think the sky's the limit.
Right. Makes sense.
Him and Ishii, they just had this, it's like they hated each other, and who knew we would ever see them wrestle?
Seemed like he legit knocked him out with one of those forearms, too.
So, let's see. Eddie and Mox face each other. This was another one of these AEW things where there's so many stories in between a lot of these guys going back G1s of years ago. So Ishii and Takeshita, amazing sequence. Eddie and Mox face each other for a huge pop. There was an all-out brawl at one point where everyone started fighting. Got a huge pop. Claudio and Mox have a great interaction. I took way too many notes on this one. It was exciting. Takeshita kills Ishii, I wrote. So yes, that's what you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Ishii and Takeshita seem to hate each other. Ishii and Kingston, 90% so far. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Gets a tag. Hangman gets the tag, and Hangman did some awesome stuff too. Hot tag, running shooting star onto a draped Takeshita. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Into
awesome.
Kingston confusedly tries to save Moxley, so there's some story there.
Right.
They kind of fucked that one up, though. But giant swing into dropkick from Yuta. Yuta and Claudio have a great little dynamic, too, with the big tough guy and the small guy. Let's see.
I hope Eddie can survive a G1, man. I think it's going to be awesome, worried, and I can't wait.
I'm worried, dude.
I'm a little worried about him.
I'm worried, bro. But you know what? He did good tonight, and he was pretty physical.
From this point on, he goes in a hyperbolic chamber and just does nothing but work out.
No, he needs to go in the hyperbaric chamber from Dragon Ball Z. You know what that is?
There you go. Yeah, where regenerates you.
No, you go in for 1 minute, and you can train for 5 years in 1 minute.
Boom.
So, well, then you'd be older. Oh, fuck. I have great pay-per-view tag mixing fast-paced, hectic tags with that Japanese strong style and multiple stories going on. Very fun match. And the babyfaces pick up... Wait, who won that one again? Ishii wins.
Yeah,
with a brainbuster on Yuta. Yep. Okay. So
that was cool that they gave Ishii the kind of shine there.
God, let's talk about Ishii. Like, he should be the one that can't walk anymore. Wow. Him and Kenny Omega both, which we will talk about now. Ospreay versus Omega. Let's talk about the overall real quick. So this last match they had at Wrestle Kingdom was probably my match of the year. Kenny Omega dominated Ospreay, right? and just fucked him up during that match, right? It was pretty violent.
It was definitely like an 80-20, 75-25
yeah.
affair, but it was, I wouldn't necessarily call it a squash match, but it was like a dominant win.
No, it wasn't a squash match.
There's no such thing as a 42-minute squash match.
But it was a statement, I guess.
It was one of the finest pieces of art that you'll ever see.
Yeah,
in pro wrestling.
The table spot too, with the table, which, God, I don't mean to be a Meltzer guy, but I have a feeling if this match was in Japan, it would have been even better. But
this match just had a little bit of, an American twist to it.
It definitely did. It definitely did.
It had a Western and I kind of like that dynamic. Is like they kind of fight to the style where they are. Someone on Twitter was saying, "Oh, Seth Rollins, that match was awesome. Seth Rollins and what is it, Finn Balor? Is that what's going to be there at the Money in the Bank or something? That's the next title defense, right? Seth Rollins and
Finn Balor, yeah, for the whatever belt is that,
right? They're thinking of some stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how to. I wanted to reply, but I didn't think I could do it eloquently enough. But the basic answer was, Seth and Finn are fantastic wrestlers, but WWE does not provide that type of platform for that kind of match to take place.
No, they when that stuff does happen, they usually try and make it unhappen. So when you saw Fergal Devil or Finn Balor get his head busted open, the match stopped, right? And they had to go clean him up and make sure.
Well, and it just doesn't play to their format and their style to have a match like that where the physical contest is the prominent feature, right? There needs to be more story, or someone has to look better than you know what I mean? They're not going to go on that.
It sounds like you're describing WWE style, which always is limiting, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying,
unless you're like Brock Lesnar and it's like what or John Cena. But yeah, I mean, when I saw Nakamura first perform in WWE, not NXT, WWE, you can just tell everything is half strength. It's so much softer.
I wouldn't even say half strength, but the best match, since I started watching WWE again, outside of those NXT things, which are more
NXT is kind of a side world, because those matches can be pretty good.
Those matches are great, but the best WWE match that I saw since I started watching again was the triple threat at Royal Rumble 2015 with John Cena, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar. That was a match I'd put up.
Way better matches since then, but
I feel like that's the best one I've seen in terms of just flat out physicality and quality without.
You didn't? Did you see Gunther versus
Sheamus?
Was it Clash at the Castle? Gunther.
Yeah, that was awesome
Drew
too.
McIntyre,
that was probably their best match. Yeah,
Gunther
great.
Versus, yeah.
But it didn't have the importance. It wasn't a main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a great match. That was a great
definitely
match.
A great match.
I don't
probably
know if
the best
put it up
match
there anymore, but
I'm just saying that it doesn't allow the platform. That match was great, but didn't have the platform to be that high spotlighted match. I don't know if that makes sense, but the idea is that I don't
understand, because that match was really popular and it was on the Royal Rumble. I mean,
it was great.
Probably twice as many people watched that than what we saw tonight. So,
well, yeah, I guess there's that. That's for sure. But I felt this match was great. There was a lot of blood.
There was a lot of blood.
And that's what a lot of blood. I think both guys felt like they needed to do it. Maybe Kenny wanted to get his back. But
it's AEW. You never know when people are going to bleed, dude. I mean, because they're just allowed to do it freely, I guess. I don't know if Tony is kind of putting reins down on that, because you didn't see Moxley bleed tonight, right?
No, you didn't see Moxley.
So
bleed tonight,
he might be saying only blood in one or two matches. I don't know, but yes, this was a very gory and bloody. Gory, maybe not. I mean, but very bloody. Yes,
right. And it was pretty much like I predicted. I thought maybe Takeshita would be a little more involved, but obviously I think they're going to do part 3 at Wembley.
I thought Ibushi would be involved.
Well, he was going to give the Kamigoye.
He did give the Kamigoye, and then he hit him with
and that was specifically after Callis told him what to do.
Okay.
So it was after he gave him the screwdriver, and he kicked out, and
gave him
Callis
the Kamigoye.
was telling him something, and he went to go to give him the Kamigoye. So he's like, give him the Kamigoye.
Catch, bro.
Yeah, so that's where Callis has been so goddamn good with this stuff. Right? Because they were saying the whole match how Don Callis knows him better than any human being on earth, kind of thing. And then who comes up next? Ibushi. An Ibushi move, right?
So this is the first time anyone's kicked out of the Rainmaker?
No. The Rainmaker?
Or excuse me, the
One Wing Angel?
One Wing Angel?
That's been a very productive move, I'll say that.
We've had Ospreay use it on people and then pull their shoulder up. But I don't think anyone's kicked out. And here's another little story thing. Last time that the Kamigoye was used on Omega, he also kicked out at 1. So this is the second time now,
right.
And he kicked out at 1 once again. So I think Ibushi's part of this story.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. I mean,
he came out and ran GCW, and I haven't heard from him since.
I thought he was going to deck fucking Don Callis, but look, I don't want to get my hopes up because he could be doing his own thing, but my God, having him run out in London would just be like one of the best wrestling moments ever.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun, but we'll see.
So let's look at these notes here real quick. I mean, we pretty much went down. Ospreay,
how do you compare it to the last match?
I got to take some time to think about it.
Me too.
Because this match was really great. It felt a little longer. I could be wrong. But it was also a lot more back and forth. There was a lot more kind of storyline beats with the Canadian flag and stuff.
The last whole Shawn Michaels thing.
What was the Shawn Michaels thing? I was thinking of Chris Jericho.
He picked his nose with the Canadian flag and
I was thinking Chris Jericho when he got the Brazilian flag and stomped on it and he got like sent out of the country.
No, it was the whole Shawn Michaels Bret Hart callbacks. The sharpshooter he put him in the sharpshooter too.
Well,
Will did.
I'm gonna figure this out. I thought it was a great fucking match, but the Japanese crowd has this certain specialness to it that. The way they kind of grow and they're not chanting for everything, which is fine. You want your crowd chanting for everything. It's just different. I thought it was.
That's what made it so good. Is that they came out and they didn't just second verse same as that. They gave you something different, and I can't wait to see what they come up with.
And that's the thing too. It was different. It had many callbacks to the last match, quite a few. So I have written here, Ospreay and Omega both with their old music, both of them. So. Interesting. I've heard Ospreay say that "Elevated" is his favorite song. So
and by the way, they did play Zack Sabre. They gave him the wrong music. They gave him that little techno stuff he used to come out.
I like that song better.
No, it's cool. It's cool, but it wasn't his new music with the punk rock. Yeah.
You know, TMDK has been around since they were in WWE. Did you know that?
Well, I know. I don't know if they were labeled as that. Were they the
were called
TM61?
Like TM or the Mighty.
They were TM61 or something like that.
TM61, Shane Haste, like right?
That.
Yeah. So I looked up TMDK and they're like, this group's been around for many years. I didn't realize that.
I remember them in NXT, but to me they were nothing special. They weren't.
They were called TM61 and the Mighty. And it was Nick Miller and Shane. Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of them. But yeah, the stable's been around for a long time, I guess. In 2016, they were with WWE, NXT, TMDK until 2019. Yeah, so there's some history there with TMDK, just FYI. But they didn't really restart until 2022 with Kosei Fujita, Zack Sabre, Robbie Eagles, Bad Dude Tito, and the others.
Yeah.
And Jonah, who's not in TMDK anymore.
He's like a Slato member now.
No, Jonah's in WWE.
Yeah.
What did you call him?
Suedo, like pretend, like
Suedo.
like he'll go online and like still comment on their stuff, you know.
What does pseudo mean?
Like pretend.
But is that an English word?
It's like, it means, pseudo. Pseudo.
Oh, is that pseudo? Like, why would you say pseudo?
I don't know.
Is that how you've said it your whole life?
I guess, maybe.
Okay. I'm not mad at you. I just know some people, this one guy said opinion. It's my opinion. Yeah. And I was like, what? It's your what? Anyways, yeah, pseudo. Okay, yeah, I got you. More notes here. Ospreay violently slams Kenny's head into the table. That's where Omega started bleeding.
Yeah.
Did not like the American table, by the way. I prefer the Japanese table where you can actually smash someone's head through it. It was that good.
Was he used the not the table
cover,
itself.
The cover.
The cover, yeah.
And you'll notice in AEW they do not like to just throw monitors off the table and slam people onto them. They don't do that. So
no, they don't. They
probably don't have the money
the monitors. Yeah. WWE uses the shitty ones. They might have LCD monitors.
They do have. They do have. Yeah, who knows now what they use. Ospreay going to have some legal issues as he took out the Canadian flag, wiped his ass with it, and his crotch, and used his nose with it. So
total Shawn Michaels reference there.
Shawn Michaels reference. I thought it was Jericho, but do you know the Jericho thing I'm talking about?
Yeah, but this was like
just line for line.
Pretty much, yeah. The picking the nose, and he did everything but hump it. That was the one thing that Shawn Michaels did with it.
2023, brother.
1997 versus 2023.
Yeah, I don't think Ospreay wants to. He don't even call himself the sex pig anymore.
And that's it. That match.
This match has become a blood feud. Ospreay bleeding like crazy. Ospreay. Now they did do some kind of MMA stuff too. Did you notice that? They were doing a lot of rolling around, hitting each other, cross arm breaker type of moves.
Ospreay power Tiger Driver.
Oh yeah. Ospreay power bombs Omega. Ospreay uses the sharpshooter. Lots of Canadian patriotism. Uses Bret Hart's. He uses the crossface Chris Benoit move, which the crowd chants "You sick fuck." The back half of the match is a little sloppy technical stuff, but in a good way. You can tell they were purposely being
kind of they were all slippery with blood.
Exactly. So much stuff happening. V triggers, powerbomb, big moves back and forth. Don Callis comes back. Interference with the screwdriver to end the match, but it does not work. Ospreay kicks out of the one-wing Angel in one. Never been done. Maybe it has. Why is Don Callis still here? That was a little weird, too. Why did Don Callis get back into the match, and why was that okay?
Kevin Kelly did a really good job of explaining that, though. He said...
In Japan...
Yeah, they do it at referee's discretion. They don't want because the title can be exchanged with the disqualification with New Japan rules.
Yeah.
So they said that it's really hard to get disqualified. So they cleaned it up pretty nice.
Yeah.
But that's where we got kind of that Western.
Yeah. That was a little dumb.
You added a little extra, a barbecue sauce to the match, right? That something American, something North American twist. Which was that kind of thing.
Little JR's barbecue sauce.
Little JR, yeah. No JR tonight, which is probably for the better for everyone.
I think he's sick, dude.
I thought he hit his face. He had a fall or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Look, JR's lucky, bro. He gets to have a working retirement. You know? Yeah. So, it's better than most of us. Our retirement will be 40 hours a week, bro. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Tiger Driver 91. This was incredibly violent. One of the most violent moves I've seen since Ibushi Naito. I can't believe they did this move. I don't know if it was planned, but he spiked him. This was old school All Japan
Sawa, yeah.
Spiked him directly on his head. I mean, just imagine a power bomb, but instead of rotating to the back, you just rotate him a quarter and then throw them downwards. And Kenny... I mean, right? He landed directly on his fucking crown.
I don't know if there is a safe way to take that.
I don't know. It did not look safe, dude.
I mean, it was brutal.
There's a reason no one does that move anymore, brother. So
I don't know how he
I don't know. You know, sometimes like when we seen Kingston versus Chris Jericho, they had that like suplex at the beginning right on his head. So you can, I mean, they do plan this shit out, but I know Meltzer said these guys will do anything to entertain. And what can we say? He looks fine, right? If he has a neck injury tomorrow, we'll know what happened.
I wouldn't do it every day, that's for sure.
No. Ospreay kicks out a one-wing angel. Omega kicks out the one-wing angel. Yeah. Tiger Driver 91 kills Omega on his head. Stormbreaker does it. 5-star, great match. Absolutely. My only sadness was the Ibushi, no Ibushi. And then finally, we have the main event, which I thought was another really good match.
It was great.
With a little bit of a surprise ending that actually upset me.
Stunned the crowd. Absolutely stunning.
I don't know how Brian won. I mean, he's older. This has got to be a rematch, right?
I see it going to the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way. I see this being a
championship match next, man, with Okada. Or you know, I don't know, man, but
you know what? I would book it this way. It would be Okada doesn't win the G1, but you give him something to do, and you get Daniel Bryan that AEW title somehow. And at January 5th, it's.
Do we want Sonata headlining Tokyo Dome, brother?
No.
And it's sad for us to say that because we like Sonata, but we like all wrestlers, right? We've said this generally.
Sure.
We like all wrestlers unless you're stealing protein powder and shit. But so it's tough, or you do some dumb sexual stuff that gets you banned from being talked about.
I don't think Sonata is going to make it to the January 5th with the Dome, 4th with it. He's going to probably lose it after the G1.
He's much better. Hey, dude, it's much better than Evil, though, right? Can we at least?
Yeah. But at least when Evil had it, you're like, I can't wait for Naito to take that title off him. And in 2020, you're not even in that excited. Summer, we had this moment where like Naito won at the baseball stadium. That was a really cool moment. So at least there was that came out of it. But right now, I don't really know who I want to take the title off him. There's no one really handpicked to do it. Maybe it is Naito.
Yeah, but there's guys that we know could do it, but are there surprises?
I'd want to look to see. It's going to be somebody in his block. But he's in a block with all the younger wrestlers. You think he's
going to lose and then someone's going to take the belt from him on that challenge?
At King of Pro Wrestling or whatever, yeah.
And all his competitors are the young boys. Or they're not young boys, but yeah, right? It's like Shota and Red and...
Let me see real quick. Oh, that's insane.
Shota, Ren Narita...
Chase Owens will do it.
Chase Owens?
Tsuji. Yeah.
Tsuji, man. That's it. There you go, dude. He could do it, right?
Or if he gets to the semifinals and he loses to somebody. Like, Sonata gets to the semifinals and loses to, I don't know. He could lose to Ospreay or Naito or somebody that gets through there.
You know, I heard a lot of people saying Tsuji could have won that match against Sonata, and that like they were ready for him to win.
Well, I would honestly, I'd have Naito win the G1 and have him and Tsuji go to Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Or the other way around.
Not a bad idea.
Or the other way around.
So. But that's the fun about New Japan right now is it is unpredictable. And that's the fun of any wrestling thing is when we can be entertained and we have no fucking clue what's going to happen. The best matches I've ever seen are that way. Just like tonight, I had no clue who would win and I was wrong on the Danielson thing. I thought Okada would win.
And I don't think people were necessarily upset.
And he tapped out.
That Daniel Bryan won, but they were all surprised because
on a tap out though, bro.
Yeah, he was about to break his, it was a very Zack Sabre Jr. style win.
It was, and, maybe, too, we have, we have Brian showing his technical side, again, and him being, right. We weren't watching him when he was the best technical wrestler in the world year after year.
But in a way, like from a character standpoint, I think Bryan Danielson's character needed this win more because he's always talked about as the greatest wrestler in the world, but he always loses. Like he lost to MJF.
You're right.
He lost to Kenny Omega. So it makes sense from this standpoint.
He's lost a lot of matches.
And Okada is kind of in this he's in a little bit of a floater situation right now.
He's not champion, right? So he can lose, yes.
And he can be built up. He could be built. He's a very good. He can be built up at any time.
Yeah, and we're only a few years away of Okada being the guy that can lose any match and it doesn't matter. But he's still at that age where it is a sensitive topic to have him lose.
But he's in a pocket right now where he could lose a match or two.
He is right now. Yes, I agree with that. And the tap out, man. Like I said, you don't really see Okada tap out that often. I was shocked by it, and we'll see, man. There's more to come.
Let's run it back for the Dome and have the AEW title on the line. Yeah,
just like in the last match with Kenny Omega and Ospreay, where you knew they were holding stuff back. This match, they went more all out. I feel the much same thing about Bryan versus Okada. It's like there was something being held back there.
What was the time on this match?
Oh, I don't know. But we didn't see the spinning tombstone, right? Or the fucking spinning Rainmaker. Or we didn't. Yeah. Any of his... Because the Rainmaker don't work anymore. He's got to do like the fucking spinning tombstone into a double, triple...
We didn't have a clean LaBelle lock?
Yeah. So... What was the highlight of your night, bro?
The highlight of my night.
I'm going to say Omega Ospreay.
Yeah, it's got to be Omega Ospreay.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? I'm going to say Bryan Danielson coming out the final countdown. I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've talked about this. We could do an episode on this, but wrestling music is not that good anymore. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
Jim Johnston leaves a huge hole in the industry, and at this point, it's better probably just to buy tracks from pro musicians.
But here you go, $39.45 for the Ospreay Omega match, and $27.40 for the Danielson Okada match.
Makes sense. 40 minutes. The first Okada Omega was 46 minutes. So. I mean, they got their shit in 40 minutes, and the other match, it ended a little early because of that tap out, and we didn't get to see Okada's full potential. So let's wait on it, and hopefully you and I, brother, will be talking about this in January, and we'll be having the same conversation.
Absolutely, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Justin?
I think that's it, sir.
I'm about ready to get out of here. You've been playing any video games lately? Are you going to buy Fight Forever? Are you going to wait and see? What are we doing? Because
I'm hearing enough good stuff to where I think I'm going to buy it.
Okay, what are you going to buy it on?
Probably PS5, but there's still something that makes me want to buy it for the Switch.
Well, let's see if it has crossplay and shit. If it doesn't, it don't matter what system you buy it on.
Oh, the crossplay, right.
But yeah. If it has crossplay from PC or whatever, because I've got an Xbox and a PC, so if there's crossplay from PC, we'll both buy it.
I started over on Like a Dragon. I'm playing it for PS5, and I'm about 18 hours in.
Why'd you start over? You forgot everything?
No, the file didn't transfer the PS4 to the PS5.
Oh.
That's one of the few games where the save doesn't go to PS5.
As someone who's beat that game, I'll tell you, it's a very, very long game. So,
but
you may never beat it.
I discovered a bunch of stuff that I didn't get on the first play rounds, because I was about 21 hours in.
Oh, you gotta check out all the side areas. That's where all your summons are. I did the
batting cage. The
batting cage, golf area, Mario Kart.
I didn't even know about yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a Mario Kart mini game. There's all the arcade games. I spent 8 hours playing the UFO catcher, and there is one little doll I cannot fucking get. It's from Super Monkey Ball. It's the little boy. And I cannot get him, dude. I tried it. I looked up guides online, nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So if you get from the Super Monkey Ball, you tell me. I'll be very shocked. So, but.
Yeah, I'm just back to the point where, what do you call it? You escape the chains, and you're getting out of the, the sewers.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's where I'm at. So I'm about 18 hours deep again.
Dude, I got to the point where I did a battle tower, and there's fucking Roombas you have to fight. So, just wait.
It's
This is a great game. I love it.
It's one of my favorite games of all time, and there's just so much stuff. But there's sometimes you're like, okay, I'm in this sewer. Okay, enough of this. This is enough of the sewer, you know?
Yeah, the nice thing about the game, though, is that your enemies don't level up with you. So if you get super high level, like, you can kick everyone's ass. And the thing that sucks, though, I'll tell you this, is money. So you're going to have to either start a business with the fucking rice crackers, or you're going to have to gamble. And if you gamble, you're going to have to save your game. And if you lose, reload your... Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. You
strategically
save, yeah.
So I had to play poker. Like, I played it for hours and hours and just saved, you know what I mean, until I had like 10 million. But if you start the company, the Cracker Senbei company, you can get millions for that. So that's going to come later. But the other thing I want to say
I have it with the chicken employee and all that.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you work on that, and you can only like do it every so once in a while. You know what I mean?
But I hate, like, I have to remember where that place is and shit and go back.
No, because there's a taxi that goes straight there.
Oh, take the taxis. Okay.
Yeah. So if you get the taxi, there's a taxi that goes right outside it. The other thing is, everyone's saying that this Final Fantasy 16 demo is one of the best demos ever made for PlayStation 5. And it's not turn-based.
Kenny talking about it, speaking of that.
It's not turn-based. It's a full action game now.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, they said it's like Devil May Cry mixed with Final Fantasy. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's our video game talk, guys. Yeah. Justin, you have a wonderful night. I'm going to go practice some more kanji. And
okay, good for you, man.
I'm practicing again. And then I'm going to play some Street Fighter 6 and get over my online anxiety. So,
okay.
You, my brother, have a great night. Have a great week. I hope the boys are doing great. I hope the wife is doing great.
They're doing just fine.
I got all sorts of drama, but we're not going to talk about that on the air.
No. Is everyone okay?
Have a great night. Have a great night, brother. We will see y'all later.
Leave us in suspense. Good night, everybody.